I would love to know, like, what place you were in when you were writing this album. What were you feeling?
Well, so many different feelings. I mean, it's not just like a one note type of a thing. You know, you go into the studio. I've grown up in the studio. I started doing background vocals when I was 12 in the studio, became a background singer, and was always writing. So writing has been my favorite thing. And I think what people are really responding to is the writing on this album more than anything. And I work with a lot of great collaborators, and I was really excited just to be back in the studio because it's my favorite thing to do, to just create music, produce records, and yeah, there's just all different types of feelings, you know, kind of mid-tempo ballads and happy up-tempo records, and then the introspective songs and stuff like that. It's just a great release to be able to write about things that are, you know, relevant in my life at this moment, and like throwback things, and just, you know, throwback moments and feelings. Just being able to express that and get it out to the fans now is a great moment for me.
With Caution, is that just like we said, drop Friday?
Hmm.
What's the first single from that?
Well, we did a couple different, like they call them instant grats, where you release it with the album, and you
Hmm.
play like some, just like so they get a taste of the album and people know what to expect.
Hmm.
And we had GTFO, which was its own
What does
little.
that stand for?
It's Get a Fun Cow. Get a Fun Cow. That's what my kids think it
I
stands
like
for.
it.
And then With You, which is the current single, which is one of my favorites. Did it the other day on Good Morning America. And The Distance is another one of my favorites from the album. It's a collaboration I did with Skrillex, and Ty Dolla $ign is on that. It's not really the Light FM mix, but
Yeah.
it's actually it's a good song, and so I'm excited about it. There's a lot of really good tracks on the album. I think it's a feel good record, and then we have the introspective album cuts like the song Portrait that I wrote that I'm very proud of. It could stand alone on any one of my albums, and I feel like it would
Wow.
stand up to that level of writing and
And
stuff.
your fans are gonna like this album, right? Because it
Yeah.
takes them along for the ride. It's not such a like total breakaway from what they'd expect,
No, I think this is
but
what the
still modern.
fans. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's it's a modern version of where I'm at now, but it's not like trying to hit you over the head with changing styles
Right.
and doing something that I'm doing just for a trend. That's not who I am.
Right.
I enjoy making music.
They have expectations. You're a vocalist, and they want to hear that.
And
You
they
know.
want to hear the writing.
And you're
They, I
writing.
Yeah,
think
and I'm
the
writing.
main thing is they want to know like what songs are gonna help them through whatever they're going through, and a lot of that when I'm writing, I take that into consideration.
Caution's one of the songs, but why, when you decide to call the album that, why Caution? What does that mean to you?
Well, it was interesting because I was writing this song called "Proceed with Caution," and then I ended up shortening it to "Caution." I kind of liked it better as "Proceed with Caution," but anyway, it was the last song I wrote for the album, last song I recorded, and it was done in the Bahamas, and it was like this great like departure from where I'd been in LA, which is cool too, but the Bahamas was a nice vibe and everything, and it has like a tropical kind of feeling to it, like a Spanish guitar, and yeah, it's just one of those ones where I was like, you know what, we could do a lot of creative stuff with this title, and I liked it. I just thought, you know, it was a cute little thing, you know, Caution. We announced the track listing with the Caution tape, and I don't know if you saw that moment.
Really?
Yeah, and we kind of peeled away the tape, the layers,
Okay.
and actually sent each fan a title, and then they kind of got to reveal the track listing themselves.
Nice.
You've always managed to reinvent yourself. So thinking about this album, Caution, what will we hear in this album that's different? Who's Mariah in 2018?
You know, the interesting thing is I'm the same person I've always been from even before I got my first record deal. I was always, I don't want to say hustling, but, you know, working hard, like just never stopping and having my release through the music. And that's what it's been like. I was so thankful to be back in the studio. Like, thank God for the ability to make music and just release tension and emotions and all those things that we go through.
How did you approach writing this album, going into Caution? What were the things that were important to you as a songwriter?
Really, it was just getting back in the studio is like such a safe place for me, and the right environment. Like I had been outside of that environment for too long and doing too many superfluous things that I really didn't need to be doing, and then I was just so happy to be back in the studio, and I really wanted to collaborate because, you know, occasionally or sometimes like the thing is like, let me sit alone and really rack my brain and write these lyrics because I need to express that as a full vision. But then one of my favorite things to do is collaborate and go back and forth. Like sit here with you and be like, how about this? How about that? Like really have a dialogue about it and then come up with an end result. And so I did a lot of that on this record.
No, that's dope.
Well, working on Caution was kind of like a little bit more, we worked faster on this than I've done in the past. But I think that was good because the creativity was just flowing. And so it was like, you know, while we're here kind of like having, so it was almost like a workshop mode that we got into making this album. So it's always nice to have like a fresh approach with something. And I feel like that's what happened with this album. I love songwriting. It's my favorite thing. And when I meet other people who feel the same way, who feel as passionately about writing songs as I do, it's great to be able to collaborate with them. On this album, I worked with Priscilla Renee, and she was one of the people that I really liked working with because we just had a great time.
Right.
BB Borelli,
Right.
we had a really good time on GTFO.
Yeah.
It was like some girl power moments
Yeah.
with this album, and I really enjoyed that. I was lucky to work with Ty Dolla $ign on this album. I was really excited about that. Working with, like we talked about, well, I worked with the Stereotypes, and that was a great collaboration with Gunna. Skrillex, I love him so much. Such a good guy. And also Slick Rick and Blood Orange. I've been a huge fan of Slick Rick since I was growing up, so this is our first time ever working together and sharing a song. Yeah.
Well, look, you know, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day who's in research. He's in the research business.
Okay.
And he was saying that Caution, this album, and they were looking at the numbers, is the most highly regarded album as far as the critics go since the beginning of your career.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but does that make you go, well, what's the other stuff crap?
No, I think it's great. I mean, I really feel like we're at a place where different people are reviewing music now. It's really music lovers as opposed to people that are just like criticizing music.
Right.
And even on some of my biggest albums that sold the most, they didn't necessarily get great reviews, but I can go back and look at them and look at some of the songs I wrote from back then and go, I would have given this definitely a better review. But to have it happening now is amazing. It's very flattering and it feels great.
How you feel now that it's out?
You know what? I've been in the studio for a long time, and that's my favorite place to be. So it's kind of like I'm never finished with an album. I never feel like I'm done. Like I could always have added one more song, gone back and fixed something. Like you know, that's just how I've been in my life as an artist. And so I feel good. I wish I had a little bit more time to work on it because that's just the way I am. But I'm really excited for the fans to hear the songs and know what I've been working on.
I felt like during Caution, and I'm not slaying myself, but I feel like now what I'm doing is much more freeing than Caution because we didn't have much time. Caution was cool, but it was like I had a lot of collaborators, so that's fun. But for me, and I think for you guys, like when it can be me actually spending that 2 days or 3 days or however long to get the lyrics exactly how I want them, I like that better than like, let's rush through something.